Welcome to Omaranger 004, and today I will explain the complete timeline of the Power Rangers. Before that, please join me on Patreon by Omaranger 004. Your small donation helps the channel. With that out of the way, let's start. I have people who want to know about timeline, and the questions they have will be answered. Hopefully the timeline of Power Rangers was going smooth until we saw the crossovers and seasons like SPD RPM and Dino Supercharge ending, so that had fans confused. But don't worry, because I am here to explain the complete timeline and the multiverse, aka Ranger verse. If you started telling the story of Power Rangers in chronological order, we'd have to go back 175 million years ago to the supercontinent Pangea. Here a wandering interstellar warrior named the Sentinel Knight touched down on Earth, running from two evil alien brothers who were chasing him, Flourish and Malta. Once he arrived, the Sentinel Knight hid his precious cargo, 5 magic gems called the Corona Aurora, all around Pangea, and then fled. Around 150 million years ago, the experimental Zord known as the Quantosaurus Rex arrived, accidentally sent back in time from about 3000 by Time Force, the Power Rangers organization of the future. Shortly afterwards, a pair of Rangers from the year 2001 showed up and recovered the Q-Rex, bringing it back to their own time. Then about 65 million years ago, prehistory's most famous meteor landed on Earth and killed the dinosaurs. Inside that meteor were the Dino Gems, which would become the source of our heroes' abilities in Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Moving into early human history, about 10,000 years ago, the space witch Rita Repulsa and the wise sage Zordon of Eltar battled for control of Earth. After a magic duel gone wrong, Zordon was trapped in a time warp, becoming that iconic floating head in a tube we all know and love. But in his last moments he sealed Rita away, trapping her inside a space dumpster. Around that same time, an evil dragon named Dai Shi was similarly sealed away, in his case by a group called the Order of the Claw. Then 5,000 years ago, a demon queen named Banshiro was trapped inside a magic sarcophagus by an unnamed benevolent wizard. Noticing a pattern, yet apparently back in the day, sealing up evil monsters was the standard way of getting rid of them. Effective, but as we'll come to see, not sustainable. Then 3,000 years ago, a creature known as Master Org attacked the kingdom of Anamaria. To defend Anamaria, the ancient warrior Merit put on a mysterious cursed wolf mask and used its powers to slay Master Or. However, in doing so he transformed into the violent wolf monster Zen Aku. Perhaps predictably, Merrick's fellow ancient warriors sealed him away in a big stone coffin. So when we getting to modern times? Well, we're almost there, just a few hundred more years until we hit the present. At some unspecified time in feudal Japan, a group of evil spirits called Nilox were defeated by a group of samurai, whose descendants would one day become the heroes of Power Ranger Samurai. Then in 1775, Angel Grove was founded. This city would serve as the battleground for most of the Rangers' conflicts during the show's first 6 seasons. Side note: Angel Grove was founded by the British, which is odd since most signs point towards the city being in California. Shortly after this, the mighty Morphin Power Rangers themselves show up in colonial Angel Grove, sent back in time by the Wizard of Deception, though they soon managed to return to their present. One of their allies, Tom Oliver, the formerly evil clone of the original Green Ranger Tommy Oliver, decides to stay behind and live in this time period. We're shocked that nothing has been done with this in any of the later seasons. It's such a cool and weird dangling thread, but this isn't the only time shenanigans the mighty Morphin Rangers get themselves into. Kimberly Hart, the Pink Ranger, also spends an episode of the show stuck back in time in the 1880s, when Angel Grove was an Old West town, before finding her way back home in 1982. A group of 3 scientists, Richard Evans, Elizabeth Evans and Victor Adler, along with the Evans' newborn son Cole, searched the Amazon rainforest for evidence of the lost kingdom of Anamaria. In the process, Adler found what remained of the once terrifying Master Org, a pile of strange magic seeds seeking revenge against Elizabeth Evans for rejecting his romantic advances. Adler ate the seeds and became the new Master Org. He then killed Richard and Elizabeth in a jealous rage, but he was unable to find baby Cole. Cole was left behind in the Amazon, but eventually he was taken in and raised by an isolated tribe. In 1983, the young ninja Kia, a student at the Wind Ninja Academy, attempted to steal a magic pendant, but he was stopped by Cam, the Green Ranger from Power Rangers Ninja Storm, who has traveled back in time. Because of this, Kia was banished, but he swore revenge against the Wind Ninjas and renamed himself Lothor. That same year, a child named Corone was kidnapped from her home planet of Co-35 by the servants of the United Alliance of Evil, who brainwashed her and raised her to be Astronomer, the evil queen of space, and the main antagonist of Power Rangers in space. And finally, in 1986, an alliance of wizards drove back an army of undead that were trying to take over the world, and they magically sealed that army away beneath the earth. We finally arrived at the first episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Day of the Dumpster, wherein a pair of astronauts inadvertently set Rita Repulsa loose, and she declares that after 10,000 years, she's free and it's time to conquer Earth. In response, Zordon and Alpha 5 recruit a team of teenagers with attitude, of course, to be the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This kicks off a relatively unbroken saga that spans the next 6 seasons of the show, which has become known in retrospect as the Zordon Era. There's a new main villain each season. First there's Rita Repulsa, then Lord Zed, Master Bile, the Machine Empire, Divatox, and finally Astronaut. To keep up with these different threats, the Rangers also receive new abilities and new Zords every season. They get Dinosaur powers, Thunder powers, Ninja powers, Crystal powers, Car powers, and finally Space powers. Rangers also come and go. By the end of the 6th season, there have been 15 different teams who've donned spandex to defend Angel Grove. And yes, during this time the aforementioned time shenanigans occur. Tommy's clone Tom is created and sent back in time, and Kimberly takes a trip to and then returns from the Old West. Now comes perhaps the single most important event in the Power Rangers history, the Z-Wave. At the climax of Power Rangers in Space, the entire universe is in peril. The United Alliance of Evil, a coalition of the most deadly villains from across the show's first 6 seasons, are on the verge of conquering the universe. Zordon, mentor of the Power Rangers, tells the Red Ranger Andros that their only hope lies in destroying the glass energy tube that contains Zordon's essence, which will kill Zordon but also potentially save the universe. Andros reluctantly agrees and unleashes a surge of good magic across the universe that has come to be known as the Z-Wave. The Z-Wave single-handedly neutralizes the threat of all the major villains participating in that conflict, some of them like the Machine Empire or reduced to dust, while others, Zed, Rita and Divatox, just have the evil within them purged and they're transformed into normal humans. Among the many heels who turn face after this is Astronomer, who's reunited with her brother Andros and changes her name back to Corrin. After Power Rangers in Space comes a succession of seasons that are relatively self-contained, the first of which is Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. Lost Galaxy tells the story of the colony spaceship Terra Venture, which leads Angel Grove in search of new habitable worlds. As Terra Venture travels the cosmos, it's periodically attacked by the forces of the evil alien warlord Scorpius. A new group of teens take on the mantle of the Power Rangers in order to defend their wandering home. One notable thing about this season is that it's the first time that we see a Power Ranger killed in action. With the death of the Pink Ranger Kendricks equally unprecedented, her powers are then transferred to Corone, who's now seeking redemption for her time as astronaut. The next season, Power Rangers Light Speed Rescue, opens on a group of men cracking open the magic sarcophagus that Queen Banshira and her demon minions were trapped inside. Now free, the demons return to the city of Mariner Bay, the site of their former palace, with the goal of destroying the city and rebuilding their home. However, an organization called Lightspeed has been secretly developing Power Ranger technology in case the demons ever return. They recruit a new team of Rangers charged with keeping Mariner Bay safe. Next comes Power Rangers Time Force. Unable to conquer the distant future of 3000, the evil mutant Rancic traveled back to the year 2001 to get a fresh start. However, a team of 4 31st century Power Rangers follow Rancic back in time. Eager to get revenge for the death of their teammate Alex, who was apparently slain by Ransom upon their arrival, Time Force meets a 21st century native named Wes, who may or may not be a distant ancestor of Alex. Short on manpower, they accept this untrained rookie onto their team as their new Red Ranger. At one point in the season, Wes's estranged and hot-headed friend Eric gets his hands on an experimental Morphin that transforms him into the frighteningly powerful Quantum Ranger. Shortly after, they briefly set aside their feud in order to travel back in time to the age of dinosaurs to recover the Quantum Rangers. Experimental lost Zord the Q-Rex in an attempt to keep it from falling into the wrong hands. After Time Force comes Power Rangers Wild Force, which features a group of Rangers endowed with the animal-themed powers of the Lost Kingdom of Anna Maria to fight the mysterious Master Org. Secretly, the disgraced scientist Victor Adler joining the team in the first episode as the previously mentioned Cole Evans, whose parents were killed by Adler when Cole was just a baby and who's grown to adulthood after 2 decades in the Amazon rainforest. Midway through the season, the evil Org Xenaku is resurrected and the Rangers then defeat him and purify him of his curse, returning him to his former self as the ancient warrior Merrick. During this season, we also get the landmark crossover episode Forever Red, in which a team of 10 Red Rangers assembled from across the show's first 10 seasons band together to defeat Vengeance, the last remaining general of the Machine Empire. Midway through production on Wild Force, Power Rangers was bought by Disney, and after that season, production moved to New Zealand. What follows is typically known as the Disney Era, and it kicks off with Power Rangers Ninja Storm, which tells the story of 3 students at a secret ninja academy who protect the town of Blue Bay Harbor from Lothor, an evil space ninja. After this comes Power Rangers Dino Thunder, another dinosaur-themed season that features the original Green Ranger Tommy Oliver returning as the team's mentor. Power Rangers Mystic Force follows a group of wizard-themed rangers who battle an undead army that was magically imprisoned during the 1980s but has now been released. Interestingly, the season features a now good version of the once evil Rita Repulsa, now renamed the Mystic Mother after having been purified by the Z-Wave. She was even portrayed by Makiko Soga, Rita's original actress. Then comes Power Rangers Operation Overdrive, a globe-spanning treasure hunt for the gems of the Corona Aurora. Notably, this season features a new villain named Frax, the previously unmentioned son of Zed and Rita, who avoided the Z-Wave and thus remained evil. The final season of the Disney Era is Power Rangers Jungle Fury, in which a group of kung fu masters who work at a pizzeria protect the town of Ocean Bluff from the evil dragon spirit Daishi. In 2010, Power Rangers was sold again, this time to Saban Brands. From here on, the show began broadcasting on Nickelodeon, moving us into what's now known as the Nickelodeon Era. A major change introduced during this era is that Power Rangers now spends 2 seasons on each team. Instead of introducing a new team of heroes every year, the first season of this era is Power Ranger Samurai, which follows a team of samurai-themed rangers who battle a horde of evil spirits known as Nilox. The follow-up season that concludes their story is Power Rangers Super Samurai. This also established a naming convention for follow-up seasons during the Nickelodeon Era, adding Super to the name of the previous season. Next comes Power Rangers Megaforce and Super Megaforce. This nostalgia-focused pair of seasons tells the story of a group of Rangers who, in addition to having their own powers, can temporarily transform into Rangers from previous generations that share a color with them. This season culminates with crossover event Legendary Battle, which features dozens of former Rangers returning to help out the current team in their final Battle then comes Power Rangers Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel, in which a group of ninja-themed heroes battle an evil game show producer from space named Galvanax. Finally, in 2019 and 2020 we have Power Rangers Beast Morphers, in which a team of animal-themed heroes protect the Morphin grid itself from an evil computer program named Avix. Though it premiered in our world in 2005, Power Rangers SPD is set in the once distant future of 2025, which is becoming increasingly less distant. It follows the exploits of the Space Patrol Delta, a police force that keeps the peace in a prosperous future Earth which has become a haven for alien species from all across the galaxy. The furthest into the future we've seen so far is the year 3000, the era of Time Force, but the ideal utopian future we mentioned earlier isn't the only version of the year 3000 that exists. Midway through Power Rangers Time Force, Alex, the original Time Force Red Ranger, arrives in 2001. Despite his apparent death at the hands of Ransik, he claims the future has changed due to the Rangers' actions, and it's a much darker world than the one they came from originally, as it's a dystopia ruled by Ransik. Though it's somewhat ambiguous, many interpret Alex's apparent resurrection as a byproduct of the changing time stream due to the Rangers meddling in the past. Alex's fateful showdown with Ransik never occurred. Fortunately, after meeting with Alex and heeding his warnings, the Rangers are able to prevent the dark future from coming to pass, instead restoring a new third version of the year 3000 just as prosperous as the first time around, albeit with a few differences, such as Alex remaining alive even in its darkest possible future. Nothing in Time Force compares to the hellish setting of 2009's Power Rangers RPM. This Terminator meets Mad Max season takes place on a version of Earth where an evil computer virus named Vengex has taken over the world, and most of humanity has been either killed or enslaved. The only remaining free city on Earth is Corinth, a high-tech metropolis protected by a team of Power Rangers who are searching for a way to destroy Vengex for good. However, this isn't the only alternate Power Rangers timeline. Power Rangers Dino Charge and Power Rangers Dino Super Charge, which aired from 2015 to 2016, didn't seemingly start off in an alternate reality, but they certainly ended in one. At the climax of Dino Supercharge, the heroes end up preventing the extinction of the dinosaurs, and they return to a version of the modern world where humans and dinosaurs live side by side. But perhaps the most memorable alternate timeline of all came not from the show itself but from the comic books. The Shattered Grid storyline introduces an alternate version of Mighty Morphin era Angel Grove, in which the Green Ranger Tommy was never cured of the evil curse that Rita put him under, and he instead grew into a terrible power-hungry tyrant who defeated the Power Rangers and conquered the world. Now, since got the Power Rangers Dino Fury Season 1 finale, it cleared up the origin of the Nexus Prism, and this team is a part of the main timeline. This team has been around for years, however never mentioned by Zordon. One theory that I have come up with is that maybe the Morphin Masters who gave the Power Rangers Dino Fury Rangers their powers erased the memory of Power Rangers Dino Fury, much like Doctor Strange did in the Far From Home ending. But the Season 2 of Dino Fury will have a storyline where the Rangers have to face Lord Zed after his return in Season 1 also. That is why the Green Morphin Mater awake the Gold Dino Fury Ranger. By the way, which is your favorite Power Rangers season? Let me know in the comments. So Power Rangers has its own multiverse where, as I said, RPM, Dino Charge, Supercharge take place on their own individual universe. Confirmed by Super Ninja Steel episode Dimensions in Danger. 2017's Power Rangers movie is also set in a different Earth. Coming to the comic crossover Justice League vs. Power Rangers is set in another reality from the TV show, because the Rangers still have their Dino Zords, which in the main TV show were destroyed by Zed, and the Rangers switched to the Thunder Zords. Now Power Rangers vs Ninja Turtles is also another reality, because in this reality Ninja Turtles become Power Rangers for a short period of time, and in the TV show when they meet both teams are unaware of each other. I mean, look, the Ninja Turtles would remember becoming Rangers but they don't. And finally, Power Rangers Shattered Grid is also in another reality, because in live-action TV show Lord Draken is never mentioned, and Shattered Grid also has follow-up storylines like Omega Rangers and Beyond the Grid. I really like the Boom Studio comics and I can't wait to see them in live action now that Netflix has the rights to Power Rangers. Let's see what they do. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more videos about your favorite comics, movies are coming soon. Join me on Patreon by Omaranger004. Your small donation helps run the channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.